and welcome to New Game Plus. My name is Don, and I am once again joined not by Tim, who continues to be in America, lapping up all things international, but Jason.
He's in Vegas now, so we worry for poor Tim. Pray for Tim. if that's a hashtag that people could start, I don't know how Twitter works. Yes, Don, I am back. Hello.
Hello. Nothing of consequence has happened in this past week since we recorded, has there?
Nothing of good consequence.
No $6.8 million consequential activities have taken place.
No particularly strange choices of battles to take in specific locations of certain maps of certain games.
No $6 million slam dunks.
So we're
let's just talk about the international.
Yeah, right. So EG won, great. Samel's a little prick. I don't know what else to add. Bad luck, C-Deck. You'll get him next time.
And that's the thing, like C-Deck were one of the more interesting teams to watch because they were Chinese, but they were playing a really aggressive style of Dota.
It's like they were, you know how China and Russia kind of are near each other. Like they got Mongolia kind of in the middle, but they have like, you know, borders that they share with other countries and stuff. It's almost like they all learned how to play Dota there because they played Russian Dota with Chinese discipline, like it was bash 'em.
Thanks,
but
Dad.
it was like, you know, but no, in the end, you know, EG kind of had their number, but I don't know, like it was weird. There was really no advantage for staying in winner's bracket besides not having to play as many games, but sometimes playing those games can warm you up, whatever, doesn't matter.
And you get the advantage of seeing your opposite, but that's a different conversation altogether. So congratulations to Evil Genius for taking out the International 5. Consolidations to C-Deck and all the other teams in the international main
Especially
event.
Navi.
Including what's called Old Mate Navi.
I miss Dendy and Puppy together. It makes me sad. Anyway, I'll take Tim's place for that one. But we do have a bumper show. There's Amiga, there's Gojira, there's
Rare Replay. Big spat of nostalgia for you and everyone else.
But for right now, there's Ronin.
We've seen a lot of decent games come out of game jams. Just look at Surgeon Simulator, just look at Screen Cheat. And now from Polish developer Tomasz Wacławik, we have Ronin. And it's pretty much Gunpoint, isn't it, Shane?
Even on his wiki himself, he says this is a rip-off of Gunpoint. That's not a bad thing, but it doesn't do it well.
Now,
that's the main issue.
For those who haven't played Gunpoint, what are you talking about?
It's basically a platformer puzzler where you jump around, you're hanging on buildings, you have to collect information from, computers, and while you're avoiding or killing enemies. But that's where this game falls down in just the movement in Gunpoint was just so fluid and so well done, whereas this, it just feels methodical but slow.
Yeah, and it sort of does its own thing to an extent. It doesn't just look at the combat. It's almost turn-based, I want to call it, because when you encounter a series of enemies, time stands still, and you see where your enemy is about to fire their shots. It's up to you to jump to an area to avoid their shots and just to create an opening to try and get behind your enemy, say, and then just slice them. And early to the middle section of the game, when it's just that core element, the game kind of shines, but then it doesn't do enough with the idea, and the sort of implementations it has on this idea just aren't for its benefit. It just adds too much work to it, like the civilians, for instance, right, Shane?
Yeah, the civilians. Like, okay, the game basically even says in the hints, this game is about killing. Don't worry about stealth. You're not allowed to kill civilians because civilians set off alarms. 2 of your bonus missions include do not kill civilians, do not set any alarms. So if you get seen by a civilian and they're basically in the worst spot positioned ever, it's pretty much GG because you can't get your skill point, you can't get level up. That's the other thing. It has I guess a skill tree in the sense that it looks pretty cool, but it's just pointless almost to get it.
And that's a shame. Like all the best sort of skills, the ones that will get you through the final levels, they are you need to get a lot of skill points to earn them, and to do them, it's not fun. It takes you away from the core element of the game, the sort of spark that it has.
Which is, I guess, the combat. And then they try to mix this combat with the puzzles, and it just doesn't really flow well. And it's just not for me, especially coming from Gunpoint.
Yeah, which is a shame, isn't it? Gunpoint was that idea done well. This, it takes it in a different direction, but not necessarily the best one.
Now, I looked at the One Piece Treasure Cruise game previously from Namco Bandai. Now I'm looking at Dragonball Z Dokkan Battle, which is a very similar concept. It's the same kind of leveling system. You take characters, you train with other characters, which then consumes those characters. you level them up, blah, 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 blah. But the actual combat itself is less of a tap game like One Piece was, and it's more of a like puzzle and dragon kind of thing. So each character has its own type, and different characters will have different types depending on A, the rarity, and B, the level of Super Saiyan or level of power. So Goku's first form is like technique, his second form is agility, for example. So every single character has a type, every single character has a rarity, every single character has like a level cap, all those kind of RPG staples, except of course that there's like free-to-play currency because it's a free-to-play game. The thing with this one though, and it's a bit of a cop-out, but bear with me, I really enjoy it because it is a time waster. You can still commit decent amounts of hours to it and unlock in a steady stream. Like unless they revalue the currency, it's going to be okay. Like as long as you play through the game, you'll unlock enough characters. Over time, there's enough events and enough stuff like that you will unlock enough characters to make it interesting. So it's got that on its side for now, but I said the same thing about the Force game on the Android, and that they ruined the currency. So as long as it stays the same, the puzzle and dragon style gameplay, the cool Dragon Ball Z figures, and like basically one of the better free-to-play models, will keep it in the game. But if you hear that they devalue that currency, uninstall. Just walk away.
So Godzilla is a
Kaiju? Is that what it is?
it's a kaiju, so it's being, but it's also a game.
Yeah.
Now we also should note that we're using the term game pretty lightly here, and that there isn't much of one.
No.
But it is worth noting that it does have levels. You do stuff in the levels, and
save files.
the save files.
One save file.
There's options. There's
Yeah.
several options actually.
Yeah.
A couple of them are quite useful.
Yeah.
And basically, if you were waiting for a game that had all the rudimentary elements of a game and also involved Godzilla, then this would be exactly what you were waiting for.
And probably the only thing you can actually be waiting for
Because that is literally all it is. It is basically one mode, even though there's several modes, they're all pretty much the same.
Yep.
You wander around and you beat up things, be it other kaiju or buildings or just
Things that are just
And-
noticeably on the ground that you're
Yeah.
not sure what they are because it's PS2 style graphics.
Yeah,
And
and sometimes you clip through them,
Yeah.
and you clip through everything, and
And hitboxes are not
they're not great, and everyone's sort of just got one gimmick, and so obviously a ringing endorsement coming from the both of us.
Yeah.
But it is worth noting that it does cover all the history. Just about every kaiju that exists in the Godzilla universe is there. It's just only a game.
Yeah.
Now, we both watched some movies.
Yes.
It's a movie segment.
Yes. So we should discuss movies.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, cool. So you went to see Middletooth Runs from Things 5.
AKA Very Hard Quest. AKA Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
So how was it? Because I don't mind the Mission Impossible series in general. I like the John Woo one myself. But I also don't mind Middletooth, despite the Scientology connotations.
Look, it was a decent action, spy, thriller, a couple of really nice set pieces,
Yeah.
you know, like 15, 20-minute things. One was in like an opera. There's like kind of dueling assassins chasing people.
Yeah.
There's a motorbike chase, of course. And another thing where he's underwater. And then there's just lots of like, let's talk about the plot.
Right. So it was like a lot of kind of shooter games where it's like, here's a 5-minute cutscene to explain the 20-minute level.
Look, I don't play games.
Fair enough.
I'm just here for moves and magic.
So, like, was it worth watching?
Plus, oh yeah, look, it was a decent film. It's not great.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It has the weirdest sort of romance thing. Spoilers, but not really. There's like a female lead who may or may
it's
not
a Hollywood
be.
movie.
Yeah, they may or may not be like a good guy. Who knows? And there's like a scene at the end where they're basically gonna kiss and they just hug, and it's really weird. It just felt so out of place.
Okay.
Like he kind of didn't want to kiss a woman. Allegedly. Allegedly.
All right. So on the flip side of that, I went to see Takashi Miike's new film at MIFF. So for those of you who don't know, Takashi Miike did Ace Attorney, Ichi the Killer, Undercover Agent Renji, I think it was called. Basically, any of the crazy Japan movies you've seen with Takashi Miike's, like, if we're being honest. And so it starts off as like a Yakuza who looks after a town, like a northern town in Japan, right? But it turns out that he's not just Yakuza, he's a vampire. But then they bring in like Asian Van Helsing, who speaks English the whole time, like horrible English the whole time. They bring in Mad Dog from The Raid.
Oh, yep.
Is randomly a character in it
But
who needs to be electrified to charge up his power.
You mean he's a character as if the actor isn't?
Yeah.
Okay,
But it's Mad Dog. But he because he comes up and he's meant to be an otaku, and so he's like got his little poster and he's like, is this Akihabara? And then it's like, what? And then he just kicks, like. Anyway, so it's Mad Dog. Anyway,
because in terms of like Japanese films I've seen, it's more around Takeshi.
Big Takeshi,
Big Takeshi. So like Boiling Point, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Brother, Outrage.
Brother, yeah.
So this is way far on the other end of the spectrum. So it's vampires fighting. There's a kappa, as in like the. Yeah.
Do you need to be into? To quote Timmy, Japanese films to be into this?
It's just stupid fun. And the problem is that Miike has there's a penchant for ultra-violence. So a lot of the, standard white people were a little bit thrown when suddenly there was rape and violence. But, like,
so
honestly...
full on but good.
Full on but good, and it doesn't have an ending because it's a Miike.
Welcome to Old Game Plus, and this week we finally get to do the Amiga.
Yeah, and this is it in front of us. So it was released in 1985 and ran till 1987.
1987, but it was quickly replaced by the Amiga 500.
Yeah.
But the Amiga 1000 had a couple of really genius parts of it. Keyboard hutch underneath, nice design, put a monitor on top, and
you can hook it up to your TV as well.
Using a TV modulator or a 1084 monitor that Commodore sold at the time. Beautiful little machine. One of the things I was going to mention this, though, there was a love for an Amiga that people that had them.
Yes. So at the time it was kind of PC or Amiga, and the Amiga filled the role that Apple kind of fills now. The musical art, graphics, movies, videos, that kind of thing. Whereas the PC was more seen as a processor and a database thing.
Yeah, well, there was a stark difference at the time between what the two platforms offered. The PC text-based screens, the Amiga had the graphics. It was a wonderful gaming machine, and that was because it had some genius designs in it. It was originally made as a console and switched to a computer, but it had genius in it. The custom chips at the time, it came with Agnes, Denise and Paula, 3 different chips that controlled different aspects of the computer.
Yep.
And it allowed it to move a lot of screen information around, a lot of memory around very quickly compared to a PC at the time.
Yeah, it had a unique kind of memory management system, didn't it? Where you could, one thing was running one thing and one thing was running
for moving screens and moving windows.
Yeah.
Had a dedicated sound chip, kind of a dedicated video chip. It also had support from Agnes that had the blitter and the copper. And the games on it at the time were just streets ahead of anything on the PC.
But it wasn't just a game machine. Like, it was used by various industries, really used for movie production and graphical editing, sound production.
Even the military used it before the PS2.
Yeah, and NASA
NASA used it.
Yeah, before they stopped PS2s being sent to Iraq. We
Yeah.
had Amigas. It was a wonderful machine, and it had those personal touches. The chips all had names. There were signatures inside the top of the case of the Amiga 1000.
Yeah, so every the case were molded with the signatures of the people that developed it.
Including J Minor's dog.
Yes,
Paw print.
there's a paw print in it, yeah, too.
And it was the sorts of things that, when people talk about how they love the Amiga, it was those sorts of personal things there that really set it apart from the very cold, impersonal IBM PC at the time.
Yes.
And if you have a look at the signatures inside of a Amiga 1000, it is really something nobody's done since.
And
they
no one
probably
ever-
won't do.
ever again, probably.
And it's just some of those little touches on the Amiga and what it allowed you to do. The way it allowed you to just have fun, be entertained, so much better than anything else at the time. It really was a machine that everybody that had one fell in love with. And
Yeah. And you obviously did as well.
I'm just excited to be so close to this. It's just beautiful. But yeah, so 30 years.
30 years of the
since
Amiga.
Amiga 1000.
Now, Don, it's interesting to see how some companies take classic brands, PacMan for example, right?
Yeah.
Now, especially for us, considering how competitive, is that the delicate way to say that?
Yes, that's kind of the light way of putting it, especially with games like Pac-Man Championship Edition Deluxe. We've actually lost vision as a result of our particular contests.
At BAM this year, I managed to actually, all I could see was like pink flashes in my left eye from trying to beat the score. And I did, and then you fucking beat me by 15,000.
So was it worth it in the end, Jason?
It was worth it, but I just have to do it again. It's fine. But the moral of the story is like, it's interesting to see when they take those brands and then, try and release them again when it's not just your average kind of Miss Pac-Man kind of jam. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so, of all people to do it, I'm glad it's Hipster Whale. If there's anyone who was really going to take that classic game design, put it into a free-to-play kind of endless runner package and not be, terrible about it.
As for one, they're referencing the level 256 kill screen, which is kind of a deep cut in and of itself. But also, we're talking about a company, Hipster Whale, that managed to revive the Frogger genre, for the want of a better phrase, with Crossy Road, made it cool with the kids again. Yeah. And it's thankful that this company is giving Pac-Man this new treatment, especially given that Pac-Man has been kind of in a rough path, especially with the late 90s games.
More like ghastly encounters.
Yeah.
Now, of all companies to do the compilation mixtape, I don't know, whatever they want to call it, Rare is the latest one up to bat. And I don't know, it's probably the first thing that sticks out for me coming into a Rare kind of compilation is that they perhaps don't have the well-known back catalogue of a Sega or something else like that.
Like
Like they have some fan favorites, but they don't have that huge catalog.
But for a developer, they've got a huge catalog.
That's true. And I guess the other thing as well is when you take into consideration all of the stuff that isn't licensed, because the one thing that Rare do very, very well
Yes.
is very good licensed games. Take out all the licensed stuff, and suddenly it's a little bit more.
Take
bad.
out Donkey Kong Country and all those classics.
Yeah, GoldenEye,
Yeah.
the list goes on. So I guess for those who don't know what Rare Replay is, they've basically taken all of their big name games. I think there's 30 or so in the
And I
compilation.
think fans voted on those 30 as well, which is good.
And so it goes from back in there, I don't know, it looked like
NES.
Vectrex or something.
Ah,
It goes
yes,
even
yes,
earlier.
yes.
It covers Battletoads, it goes Super Pro-Am, all the way up into probably their heyday, which, let's face it, was the N64.
Yes.
And
yes.
then even onto their Xbox offerings, because of course Microsoft can give their Xbox offerings for free.
Yes.
So they don't need to worry about that. But coming into it as a non-Nintendo fan, was it interesting to go and see, Conker, the how Conker's meant to be, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I've played Conker on the original Xbox.
Yes, which is
formerly the Xbox One, but now
Yeah,
the
yeah,
original
it's fine,
Xbox.
it's fine.
And yeah, playing this version, the Bad Fur Day version, right, over the Live and Reloaded
Yeah.
version, was quite different. The control scheme was quite different. There was stuff that wasn't beeped out in the older version.
It does a better job of emulating the C buttons of the N64 control.
Yes.
It also has stuff like Jet Force Gemini, all these great N64 classics.
Yeah, Perfect Dark.
Blast Corps.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So it's like for those of you who are coming into it from the N64 nostalgia trip, there's enough there that makes it worthwhile.
Actually, there's more there on the Xbox One than there is on the Wii U.
And that's probably the saddest / funniest, however you look at it, kind of
Yes.
thing about it. But I mean, I think it's time for us to take a little quick kind of sidestep and mention how good a game Cameo was and how no one played it.
Yes.
And that makes people sad.
Yes.
Like-
Makes me very sad. 'cause
Yeah.
I unlocked everything in that game, and there was so much to unlock, and it was awesome.
So for those on the 360 who have Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, all those great games, it's great to see them again. It's great to have them in one spot.
Yeah.
And it was probably the thing that prompted the backwards
And great
compatibility.
presentation, like
Yeah.
the menu and the way you get to each
Yeah.
game is so well done.
Yeah, it's really fun. There's behind the scenes commentary videos, which was the best part of stuff like Midway Arcade Treasures and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Seeing the dev teams talk about it, Sega seeing the dev teams talk about it, and Rare Replay goes for the same vibe. It's great fun. Some awesome games on there for a very, very comprehensive package. And
Yes,
I think
very
definitely
good.
worth a look.
Now, I've got a question for you, Jason. I never really played the Rare games as a kid.
Right.
We were a PlayStation household, so we didn't have the Nintendo 64 and all of its GoldenEye.
And his mama cried. Sorry.
But would you recommend the Rare Replay collection for someone like me who has absolutely no nostalgia for these old Rare titles?
So there are some that like the particularly old Sabrewolf, Battletoads. They're probably the most well-known early ones that aren't licensed. And yeah, they don't hold up as well. They're like Double Dragon. Like people for sure Double Dragon Neon, but it's categorically a better game than Double Dragon. But in its time, I can understand why Double Dragon was popular. Same with Battletoads, same with all that. But Rare's N64 showing, and even some of their Xbox showings are just worth it alone. Jet Force Gemini, Conker, Tooie and Kazooie, Perfect Dark, that alone is worthwhile. Then Cameo, honestly, even without that nostalgia factor, they're good classic games. Like, Banjo-Tooie kind of set up the pinnacle of the collect stuff platformer.
By giving you the opportunity to collect literally everything.
Yeah. And it has that. Plus, it has nuts and bolts, which I think would have been a much better game if they just not called it Banjo-Kazooie, because I actually love the game. But So look, I still think it's like definitely worth a look. But yeah, the earlier stuff you're gonna look at it and say,
Good for you. I'll just skip right to the next one.
yeah.
I'll just look for the Kinect Sports 2, which was also developed by Rare, and is that on this one?
I knew someone would bring that up, and I was glad Oz didn't. Anyway, doesn't matter, because we should continue on, discuss next week very quickly. Great, the new season of Planeswalker Plus starts up again.
Yep.
We got Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is known around the studio as Not Magic. So there's heaps of cool card stuff, but there's also a lot of other stuff people should watch. But if you want to watch our old stuff, or even this episode, you should go to www.newgameplus.tv.
And if you want, you should like us on Facebook, facebook.com/NewGamePlusTV.
You should go to Twitter and Instagram @NewGamePlusTV.
And you should follow us on Twitch and YouTube @NewGamePlusTV. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Donald.
And we'll see you next week.